out across the line, little bit of a slide, cuts the timing beam, and it's quickest for Dennis. So Gunther is pushed out. Now Lotterer comes through, and he goes fastest. De Vries is right on the bubble, and De Vries is out. Freitz, Lotterer, Dennis and Bird advance through to the quarterfinals. Across the line comes De Grassi, he goes up into 5th place. Then it's the other car of Da Costa. Sette Camera gets pushed out. Da Costa's there in 4th place. Verline goes up into 2nd, so Da Costa is pushed out. Is that?
The Sette Camera.
Oh, that's Sette Camera, so apologies, it was Giovinazzi that came back into the pits.
Just locked up over those bumps, you saw it.
Evans, Verline, Van Dorn and Verne advancing through. Verne versus Freitz, Van Dorn versus Lotterer, Dennis versus Verline, and then Bird versus Evans. Jean-Eric Verne up against Robin Freitz. Freitz now into the right-hander, and Verne's got ahead. Verne is ahead now by 7/100ths of a second. Freitz had the advantage pretty much from the start of the lap, but it's going to be really tight as they come across the line. Through the left-hander at turn 19. Verne has the advantage. He's growing the advantage, and Verne is through. Stoffel Van Dorn up against Andre Lotterer. Out through the final corner now, and the benchmark that Van Dorn sets is a 38.7. We're on board with Lotterer here. Oh, a bit of a slide as he comes through Piazza JFK, but he's 3/10 up on Van Dorn. All of a sudden, Lotterer has gained a huge amount of time, and Andre Lotterer goes through. Next up, Jake Dennis versus Pascal Verline.
Oh, wide for Verline. Watch the gap grow now between Dennis and Verline on your left.
Verline onto the brakes. Turns into the left-hander. This is where we see, yeah, it's over. It's almost 2/10 of a second. Here he comes. Pascal Verline, the gap grows a little more, and the gap is 3/10 of a second at the line. Dennis is through, Jaguar versus Jaguar. Sam Bird versus Mitch Evans. Bird across the line. Checker flag falls, and he does a 38.4, but Evans is beating that comfortably. It's now almost 3/10 of a second for Mitch Evans. Into the left-hander now at turn 19. Bit of a slide, but out across the line, and it is Evans who wins the Battle of the Jaguars. Lotterer versus Verne in semi-final number 1. Dennis versus Evans in semi-final number 2. Andre Lotterer versus Jean-Eric Verne. Verne on the power, out across the line. Lotterer closes the gap a little bit, but it is Jean-Eric Verne who advances through to the final. Jake Dennis up against Mitch Evans. And now it's up to 8/100ths of a second. This is a neat and tidy lap, this from Dennis. How close to the wall do you want to go on the exit?
Yeah, turn 8, just carrying all the speed through there, using all the road.
And actually Evans is gaining a bit of time back now. He's ahead.
Dennis comes to the line.
He does a 37.9, and Evans has lost half a second now. And for the second time this season, it's Jake Dennis who goes through to the final. The final of round 5 of the ABB FIA Formulary World Championship.
Oh, and it snaps again. He's not worried about the back of the car moving around a lot, is he?
Now he's onto the brakes, into the left-hander.
Oh, bit of a lock-up just as he touched the brakes at first.
And there's 2/10 between them. Jean-Eric Verne with a 2/10 advantage of Jake Dennis over Jake Dennis.
Looked really good through 7 for Jean-Eric Verne in the black and gold Techeetah.
The advantage is growing. Dennis is right up towards the wall on the exit. 3/10 of a second now to Verne's advantage. Dennis still aggressive, still attacking.
See, this is where Dennis is catching, and this is where he's particularly quick earlier through the chicane. A bit wide that time, wasn't nearly as neat as he was in his semi-final.
But he did take a 10th out of Verne. How neat and tidy will Verne's final sector be?
Still 2.5 tenths until the next checkpoint. Verne, 1 corner to go.
Through the left-hander comes Jean-Eric Verne. He's going to be on provisional pole position. Surely he's going to be on actual pole position, because the gap is now 3/10 of a second. Dennis is going to need a huge final through few corners. It'll be front row for Jake Dennis. He gets to within 2/10 of a second at the line, but it's Jean-Eric Verne who takes pole position for DS Techeetah.
And that's pole position, my friend. Well done.
Yes! Come on!